Wrestling POV content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to modern audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to modern audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised.
Hey fans, welcome back to another edition of WPOV Global. I'm your host, the legend T. James Logan. With me, that handsome, dashing devil himself, the gentleman, Elio Canella. Elio, welcome to this week's show.
Hey, it's good to be here.
Now, you know what, Elio? I had to say dashing because, I mean, as I started recording, I hesitated for a second because I looked at you and you gave me that kind of look, you know what I'm saying? And so I had to, I had to just stop for a second and then find my place. It was like I fell in a pool. It was like I fell in a pool of Alanis Morissette's eyes.
Oh,
that yes.
Wow.
You know, and I want to dedicate this show as we do every week to Alanis Morissette and the beauty that she is. Yes. And as for Cardi, whoever the heck she is, we have no clue. Elio.
Yes, sir.
Tell me how your week has been. Have you done anything exciting?
My week has been great. My week has been very great. I watched a lot of wrestling this week. Actually, I know what you go through around this time because from last Wednesday to this past Sunday, I started watching NJ Cup. I watched all of day 1, all of day 2. I started day 3. Yeah. I have to say, Yoshihashi, he's not really a terrible wrestler. He just plain sucks.
I gotta admit, we'll go over some of the rounds. He was in action this week. Well, and he got eliminated right away, but it was nice to see him get beat.
He is terrible.
He is pretty terrible. He's pretty bland. I'm not sure what you could do with the. I mean, the guy has skill, but yikes.
And I did see who you were talking about, Hanma or whatever the dog.
Yeah. with the bucket thing on his head. Yeah, let's get into that when we get into New Japan.
All right, sounds good.
This week, I had the pleasure of going to a independent wrestling match.
Wow. Okay.
The company that started me in independent wrestling out here in Western Canada, the Prairie Wrestling Alliance, celebrated their 17th anniversary show.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was incredible. There was some really fun stuff in there. The main event featured Jeff Cobb, and I did in fact get a chance to sit down with Jeff Cobb and do a roughly 20-minute interview, which we are going to play next week on Global, boys and girls.
Nice.
And it was a good time. You know, there is some I don't know what you call it, synergy, irony. I interviewed Jeff Cobb 9 years ago. And he had just started out, and he was at that, at that time where an independent guy is sort of like, he's the big dog in his own company, but he's sort of nobody else anywhere else in the world.
Yep. And
Jeff was pretty much the big guy at Action Zone Wrestling out of Honolulu, Hawaii. And he was their big dog, but he hadn't really done anything else anywhere. No one really knew who he was. So he steps out, comes to Calgary. He was booked in a... he was so unknown that the promoter here didn't even give him a singles match, put him in a tag team match with another Hawaiian wrestler, just called them the Island Boys and let them have a one-night match. I remember seeing him and thinking, man, this guy has got the whole package. Like, he's got a lot going on, and I could see that he could be a potential superstar, but in my head, I realized he'd have to leave Hawaii because saying places that are really far away, pocket places, it's hard for people to get eyes on you. Just like here in Western Canada, where there's some really tremendous wrestlers, a lot of people, especially like in the States, Eastern Canada, never hear about them. Hawaii is such a faraway place. I mean, think of it this way. You're putting on an independent show. It costs a lot of money to fly somebody even as far from Hawaii to California. So you find unless you're willing to like get over there yourself, you're not going to get bookings. So Jeff did, in fact, and he told me, as he talks about in this interview, that after the Calgary trip, he met a promoter who told him, you got to move to California or move out of Hawaii into the continental states if you want your career to go on.
Right.
And he did, and the rest is history because, man, Jeff Cobb is definitely one of the guys we love talking about every week here on Global because the guy is incredible. He does some amazing stuff.
Yep, he is.
So, folks, next week, tune in. We have a great interview with him. He talks about his career. He talks about his amateur wrestling background. He talks about current stuff in ROH. He even talks about the rumor that Michael Elgin had not only trashed him a lot, but might have cost him a space in the New Japan locker room. But he addresses all of that stuff. And this is the part that makes me sad, okay? We're at a show that sometimes, we have a weekly schedule, and people, you're hearing stuff as we hear it up to date. Well, unfortunately, I went to that show 3 days ago, and on that show, he told me something that was released yesterday, officially. So if we could only have got on it, if only our show had fallen in a day earlier, we could have broke that news. But the news was, after... he had sent out a Twitter to Will Ospreay, challenging Will Ospreay to an open, putting his open weight belt against his television title at Madison Square Garden, and that Ospreay accepted the tweet and said was interested, and officially a day or two after he tells me this, officially New Japan and ROH signed that match.
Actually, I think I brought that up on the show.
Yeah, so like that's incredible. Will Ospreay,
because they brought it up in ROH.
Yeah, and so like that was pretty cool. He talks about it at the time. Bear in mind when you guys hear this interview, it'll be at least 10 days since I've done it.
Yep.
He hints at that this is a good possibility, and yeah, it did come true. So, folks, really fun interview. Jeff Cobb, a really cool guy. Can I tell you something really bizarre that happened though?
What's that?
And I gotta say, Americans, you guys are kind of trusting. Maybe a little too trusting, in my opinion.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I get to the venue, and it's about an hour before, at least an hour and 10, 20 minutes before the matches are even going to start. I'm sitting there talking to some of the wrestlers. They're just letting in the people for the meet and greet. And the promoter comes up to me and he says, hey, I hate to ask you this. I can't think of anyone else. I need your help. And I'm like, what's up? And he goes, well, when Jeff flew in this afternoon, they lost one of his luggage bags that has all his wrestling gear in it.
Oh, wow.
And now we think it's at the airport. Oh. And the airport's about a 30-minute drive out from where I am. He's like, could you go and pick up Jeff's bag? Wow. So I'm like, sure. I'm thinking, why not, right? I go over. I go to do this, and Jeff gives me this information. He's like, okay, here's a ticket, blah, blah. Then you know what he did, Elio? This blows my mind. He hands me his passport.
What?
Yes, and tells me to take his passport with him to prove it. I'm thinking, dude, don't give me your passport. You don't want to be giving me your passport.
Wow.
That's a little much. But he's, oh, no. He said, you take the passport if there's any problems. So I'm taking this passport, and I'm driving along, and I'm thinking to myself, he's so lucky I don't look like him, because I could be on a plane to, Hawaii with this passport.
Wow.
No, that would never happen. But thank goodness I was a trustworthy guy, because, man, I don't think I would trust anybody with my passport.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust anyone with my passport.
And I'm going to tell you, I'll show you, Elio, if there's anybody out there who doesn't believe the story, that thinks I'm full of crap. I actually took a picture of the passport.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just to prove that, yes, I did in fact have his passport, which was strange. We did get there. We got his gear in time. Yep. I arrived 5 minutes before the matches started.
Okay.
And he was more than gracious and happy to give me an interview.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And as a bonus, because I had done this, the promoter went and talked to TJ Wilson. Now, the name TJ Wilson might not mean anything to you. Does that name mean anything to you?
Yes.
Okay, who is TJ Wilson?
Tyson Kidd.
Tyson Kidd said he was so impressed with what I did, he offered to do an interview with me also.
Wow.
Now, this story gets convoluted because I do the interview with Jeff, and I haven't used my recorder for a while. I haven't done interviews for a while. Okay. I go over, I turn it on to do Tyson Kidd, and the batteries die.
Oh, no.
Now, that's disastrous. I'm thinking, oh, man, I had this great interview lined up, and
not
I blew
now.
it. You know what he says?
What did
he says, hey, how about I give you my cell number? You give me a call. We'll set up an interview this week. We'll do it over the phone.
Wow.
Boom. So I am going to try and follow through with this and get Tyson Kidd's interview, find out what he's doing past, past all the things that have happened. Maybe we'll try and touch a bit about it. Because, I mean, let's face it, he got injured in a move that, I mean, a million people have taken Samoa Joe's gutbuster and never had a problem. And some weird freaking reason, it hurt him bad. So, we're going to talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about that stuff, talk about his things on Total Bellas, talk about what he's doing. Find out what the world's... Will he ever come back? Probably not, I would think. But yeah, I'm very interested to hear some stuff about him. Maybe he'll talk about Harry Smith. I don't know.
Well, don't these guys always end up getting like a backstage role, like as an agent, a road agent or something?
Usually. I mean, right now he's doing appearances like for Total Bellas, right?
Right.
So that's some extra money there. But I don't know. I don't think I've heard of him doing anything like that. But... hey, maybe that's still open for the company, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know what, folks? I think it's time we take a look at our news of the week. And I know, Elio, you've got a few pieces of news. I got some news.
Yep.
I want to start off with MLW. Do you have anything on the MLW front before I start?
No, I don't.
Okay. All I know is I've got 3 little pieces coming out.
Okay.
Number 1, MLW is going to introduce a new championship. No word yet what it is. I mean, they already have it. Do they have a tag team championship?
I don't know any of the championships there. I'm just still new to MLW.
Well, they have a heavyweight belt, and they have a mid heavyweight belt. Oh yeah, they have tag team belts. Duh. The whatchamacallit, the Heart Heart Foundation.
That's right. Yeah.
So if I'm going to speculate, maybe it's going to be like an intercontinental type belt. Like a secondary belt. That could be. Maybe it'll be a hardcore belt. I don't know.
Okay.
But it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing it is. Now, this one doesn't bother me at all. Puma King fired from MLW for constantly double booking himself between companies, making lots of no-shows. I got to tell you,
that's a bad way to. That's a good way to get fired. It's a good way to get fired,
especially on the indies. But one thing that really drives me crazy about Puma King, he's a good wrestler. But that costume is so stupid. He looks like he's from the show Cats. I couldn't think of where it was. He looks like he's from a stupid Broadway show. I could never get past what he was dressed like. Puma King, no loss to me, I guess.
Yeah.
And this one, I mentioned this to you, and you said to me, I can't believe this. They suck. But apparently the Contra unit has been very popular amongst the indies right now. Lots of promoters are trying to sign them. MLW happy with the response they're getting.
I'm just not seeing it.
Either am I. They just seem so forced and terrible. They
seem like a gimmick right out of the 80s. Like, that's something that they would have done back then.
Well, even so, it seems like they're a bunch of jobbers doing like a gimmick. I mean, I'm not sold on Simon Gotch. He's just terrible. Yeah. And the Samoan guy, I guess he's okay, but he seems pretty small for a Samoan. And then the other guy, except for his like jabbing people in the forehead, throwing fireballs, he seems a terrible wrestler. So I'm not sure how this works. I don't know. Post-editing, I guess, kids. Moving on, AEW. I only have one piece of news. It was one of the... this shouldn't surprise us. Allie being signed to AEW. I bet you Ellie wanted anything to get out of Impact after all the crap that she's had to deal with. I
hope they finally put this stupid story to rest.
Oh, they won't. They won't. They'll just write her out and add other stuff. It went on this week on Impact. You saw it. There's just
I did. I saw the abbreviated version. I just watched the little YouTube clips.
And you know what? Not only that, I managed to I got a hold of a preview for what was taped, and it isn't part of the show, so I'm not going to really talk about it, but this it still continues. The Sue Young, Rosemary garbage is still going on, so Allie made no difference. So, all right. How about you? I know you had some AEW news. Why don't you shoot it our way?
Well, also, that's not the only signing. Apparently, AEW has signed 24-year-old UK talent Sadie Gibbs to join their women's division. And also Cody Rhodes, the guys over at POV talked about this. So he filed trademarks for WCW event names. Yes.
He also apparently is on record of saying that he has tried to re-trademark almost 50 different trademarks. He said most of them have nothing to do with AEW.
Now,
He said
AEW, now they're talking and talking. They haven't shown us anything yet. They keep talking about television. Apparently, they're going to be landing on a streaming service. So that might give fans another reason to subscribe to a streaming service if they want to watch it.
Okay, that's not getting a television thing at all. Anyone can do a streaming service, man.
And do you remember Armando Alejandro Estrada?
Yes.
He has returned to AAW to manage Jacob Fatu.
Wow. Well, that's kind of cool.
And the final piece of news I have, well, actually, there's two. The first one is Lucha Underground. Mm-hmm. The lawsuit against Lucha Underground was settled between them and El Hijo del Fantasma, Texano Jr., Joey Ryan, Ivelisse, and Cobra Moon, as they were all granted their release from the company. Now, the lawsuit stems from inactivity and preventing the above-mentioned names from finding any work.
Now, fans, I know most fans will recognize all those names. Did you say Copper Moon was her name?
Cobra Moon, that's Thunder Rosa.
That's Thunder Rosa. Yeah, that's what I just wanted to throw out there for people who were wondering who that was. That was Thunder Rosa. Okay. And part of Twisted Sisters.
Yes, and the last piece of news is All In 2, which will be returning to Chicago. No date or venue has been announced as of yet.
That's so more AEW, no news means some kind of news. Oh,
so Double or Nothing is an event all its own, as All In 2 is coming back to Chicago.
Now, hey, do you want to hear something really cool about that? What was it called again? All Double or Nothing?
Double or Nothing.
Okay, wow, I can't believe I forgot the name of that. But you know what? I had a friend of mine who last week got a hold of me, texted me and said, hey, we have $200 tickets to that event, and we're flying out, and we're going to stay a few days in Vegas and go to the show. Would you like to join us? So I came very close. I couldn't afford it.
Right.
And I don't think my wife was going to let me off the hook that easy to go to Vegas. But that kind of would have been cool if I'd been able to cover that for our show live. Yeah.
We could have had a live report from Vegas.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe I could have weaseled my way into some interviews. Pull some strings, yeah. I know at least somebody in there. I got to know somebody at AEW, I hope. Gosh. I don't know. I can't say I do, but I do.
Well, we do know Kenny Omega. You've interviewed him.
Yes, I have. There you go. I wonder if he'd even remember me. Hey, fellow Canadian. Hey, Americans, there's only 14 of us in all of Canada, so he has to know me. I always joke about that because I'd always get guys to come up to me, Elio, when I was down in the States, and they'd be like, hey, you're from Canada? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm from Western Canada. Really? Do you know Joe who lives in Montreal? Yeah, sure. Joe, hell yeah.
I used to get that too. I'm like, do you know this guy? Do you know that guy? I'm like, yeah, I saw them. I ran into them last week.
And we're not trying to sound like we're jerks, but I just want to explain to Americans, Canada is just as big as your country. It is just as many miles. We only have 1/10 of the population, but that still means we still have like 30 million people. Okay? I never knew Elio before we got hooked up on the show, man. We never bumped into each other at West Edmonton Mall or anything like that. Oh, man. By the powers of Atlantis, this is the only thing that gets us through, man. Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Let's get into some New Japan, man.
All right.
New Japan wrestling. The New Japan Cup going on right now. The winner of the Cup gets to be the... not only will they be the number one contender, but they get to face Jay White at the Supercard in Madison Square Garden. So this was a very important week for people. And I'm going to go over... we already went over first and second round each week as they happened. But now as the field's gone down, it went from we got to see the quarters, the semis, and the final this week. And we're going to go over some of these matches, talk about some of the things that happened during this. And I'm going to, first of all, in quarterfinal matches, Ishii beating the snot out of Yoshihashi. I mean, my God. Yoshihashi.
He's just terrible.
He's terrible. He's terrible.
I don't see it, no.
I don't either. He deserved a good beating. Yeah. This next match kind of surprised me. I wasn't sure which way it was going to go, but Okada defeating Will Ospreay. once again, two members of the Chaos division facing each other. The Chaos stable fans who don't know what they are in a group together called Chaos. Great match. Well, Ospreay put on a really good showing here, but Okada is a big boy, and he's a talented guy, and he took Ospreay apart. Now, this next match, I guess I should have told you to watch this because I think you would have loved the ending of it. Tanahashi defeating Zack Sabre Jr., last year's winner. He did a lot of stuff that Zack didn't expect. Mm-hmm. Zack tried a lot of his usual nonsense, and at the end, Tanahashi beat him at his own game. And very frustrated, which makes me happy, Zack Sabre Jr., go home, you snothead. Can't stand that guy. I would rather watch Yoshi. No, you know what? Okay, I got to say this, though. As much as I hate Zack Sabre Jr., watching his matches are enthralling. You just can't look away. I mean, his whole style is so different. He makes guys wrestle his way. And when you watch him, as much as you want him to lose, you're watching his match from beginning to end.
Yep. I find myself watching like every move. In the ring. Yeah. So
I got, he's a great heel, but he's also a very good wrestler. And he did not make it through the round, so he's out. Then I know the guys over at WPOV. They're a little bit sometimes harsh on Colt Cabana. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed his match. His matches in this tournament were very good. Even beating Toriano, even beating him was a really funny, goofy match. But he did his stuff. He did great in this tournament, way better than I thought. He did fall to Sonata, but it was a very close match, and he came really close to beating Sonata. Mm-hmm. And so Sonata wins. That puts us into the semifinals. The semifinals. I need for you this week, Elio, to go back to the semifinals. Watch Okada versus Ishii. Okay,
I got that on my list. I marked it down.
I'm nominating it for the vault. It was a great match. It was unbelievable.
Okay.
Unfortunately, in this match for Ishii, Okada wins. That puts Okada into the finals of whoever wins the next match. That happened to be Sonata defeating Tanahashi. And really fun match. Let's face it, we didn't think Tanahashi had a lot of gas left in him, but he did really good. I mean, he got over Zack Sabre Jr., which was awesome. Sonata was just too much this night. Really great match. And then in the finals of the tournament, the winner of this match will go on to face Jay White in Madison Square Garden. It was Kazuchika Okada defeating Sonata in a really pretty good match. I'm not going to say great. It was a very good match. And, it makes sense to me because this is New Japan Wrestling's biggest foray into America.
Right.
And you got to think that Jay White can't be that big of a draw on his own yet. I mean, he's pretty new to the belt. He hasn't been an established New Japan name. But Okada is pretty much recognized as probably the best wrestler in the world for the last year or two. So Okada versus Jay White will be for Jay White's belt. It's going to be a really great main event. I'm already looking forward to that. These guys have fought before, but I think this is a whole new stage for them, a whole new audience, and I'm looking forward to that. Now, one thing I wanted to point out here, I don't know how much you watched. Now, you said you tried watching some of the New Japan, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of matches.
Day one, I saw day one. I saw day two. I started day three.
Now, remember, I went up to day 11. Each of those at 4 hours each. So I watched a lot of wrestling the last couple of weeks.
You win.
Now, during the tournament, in the second round, Juice Robinson was defeated. In the first round, Juice Robinson was defeated by Chase Owens. Now, how it works in New Japan, if you manage to pin a champion, you are guaranteed a title shot against them.
Oh, wow.
And just as for fans, this is even weird. Suppose you're in a tag team. Suppose you guys are in a tag team, and me and Elio are the champs. And we're in a 6-man match. And you manage to pin a tag team champion, your team gets to go up against the tag team champions coming up.
Oh, so okay. See, you just answered my question because I was going to ask what the tag team matches were all about. If they were like part of the cup or if they were like something different.
Well, they were all just separate matches, but if you manage to pin a champion, anytime a champion is pinned in New Japan, the person who does the pinning gets a title shot of whatever titles they have. So if you're a tag team champion that gets pinned, you have to put your tag team belt up with your partner against that person and whoever they pick.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Now, Chase beats Juice in the first round, so that guaranteed him a title shot on the last night of the finals. Chase Owens did, in fact, rematch with Juice Robinson. He did not win the belt, but came very close. I was very excited. Watching him in round one, he seemed like this was the breakout star we've been waiting to see. And unfortunately, as some companies tend to do, they kind of shit the bed on the booking here because the rest of the time it was just Bullet Club interference. So it didn't even make Chase look like a credible champion, or at least contender. It looked like he was just trying to do everything he can to cheat to win the belt. He didn't win, Now, one thing, we talked about this. I told you to check out, there's a few guys I can't stand on New Japan Wrestling. Yoshihashi definitely comes to mind.
Yep.
Zack Sabre, we hate him because of his character. So at least that makes sense.
Right.
But there is another guy who I want to label in with Yoshihashi.
Oh, who's that?
And that's Hanma.
Oh, okay? Yes, I saw, didn't they wrestle each other? I think I saw them either day 2 or day 1, something like that.
Yeah, they wrestled in. Did you see what Hanma's coming to the ring with sort of looks like a bucket over his head?
Yeah, he looked ridiculous.
I don't understand. He's terrible.
Yep.
He looks like a overly bleached Asian Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
His hair is blonde. He's have you ever had the displeasure of hearing him being interviewed?
No.
Okay.
I haven't heard him.
Now, I tend to watch a lot of these things. They translate it like subtitles on the bottom so you can see what they're saying, but you're hearing their actual voice. Right. This guy literally talks like... Oh,
no.
I'm just like, oh, my God, take a lozenge, man.
Wow.
Like, your throat sounds like a cancer victim. I mean, come on.
Wow.
And by cancer victim, I mean somebody smoking, not just somebody who got cancer. I just meant like what you get those people that smoke like 30 packs a day, and they
and then their voice sounds really like rough and hoarse. Yep.
Ugh, Hanma is. I don't get it.
Yeah.
How did this? Now I've only been watching New Japan for 3 years. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, apparently, years before, Hanma was supposed to be a very good wrestler, and that he took a serious injury, and he's been struggling to come back. Maybe that's it. But what I'm seeing now, no way. Him and Yoshihashi, you guys jump on a dragon and just fly out of there, man.
That was a terrible match, by the way, that they had. That was terrible.
Yeah, of course it was. I mean, if you put a turd and a turd together, what would you
You get 2 turds.
I don't know. You get 2 turds. Not just one giant turd. So you can't polish a turd no matter what country you're in. Canada, US, or Japan. You just can't polish turds. It just doesn't happen. Okay. So New Japan is set, which means probably, Elio, next week, there probably won't be really any news. Like, we won't really have anything to watch for New Japan because they'll be gearing up for the big Super Show.
Card. Yep.
Yeah. So that means, but next week, right? I think next week we're going to take the opportunity, folks. We're going to go over the Supercard lineup. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about who we think is possible in it. And I think we probably will have an MLW Supercard lineup too that we'll probably look at. I don't know if I don't think is Impact even going to do it. They don't even they never even bother doing stuff WrestleMania weekend.
They don't. You know what? I've seen these like Battle Bluegrass or something. Battle in the Bluegrass or whatever, the one night onlys. That's the only thing I've seen is their one night only shows that I don't really watch anyways.
I heard somebody I can't remember where referred to them as they should be called one viewer only because that's pretty much who's probably the only person
one viewer only. Oh man.
Oh yeah. Okay, well, you know what, folks? We've eaten up a good half hour of your time right now talking about New Japan and some crazy stuff. You know what?
Yep.
You know what we didn't talk about before we go off to our break? We didn't talk about the poll.
The poll. I know. I was about to say that because I had that in the back of my mind while you were going over to New Japan.
Well, you know what? Folks, I'm just... okay. The poll was this, and the intent was this, is we have watched the Hart Foundation trying to do promos, and they are succulent. They're terrible.
They are horrible. Oh my goodness. And this week was no exception.
They're steaming piles of Hanmas and Yoshihashis.
Yeah.
And they don't seem like they're going to get any better.
No.
And I don't know if we misworded our question, but we were just like sarcastically saying, should they let Heart Foundation have these promos because they're horrible.
Yeah,
They're embarrassing.
The exact wording was, should the New Era Heart Foundation stop doing promos?
And okay, so the question was asked in the vein of, should they be stopped from doing promos? Right. And what were the results, Elio?
Okay, 21% said yes, stop. 79% said no, keep going.
I am flabbergasted. I mean, did you guys not get the view that you can't polish turds? You can't polish turds.
It's terrible.
I mean, I know these guys. That's the worst part. I know Davey Boy Smith. I know Teddy Hart. I don't know Brian Pillman Jr. I know these guys, and as much as I like them, what they've been doing, especially Teddy Hart, is, man, he is so out there in his interviews, and it seems like he's bringing Harry down to his level.
Man. I know. I feel bad for Davey Boy.
Well,
he's just, I don't know.
Well, folks, I am actually just probably just going to go lean over and vomit in the bucket right now after hearing this result, and we're going to get back, and maybe things will get better.
Yeah.
Hello, this is Miguel Cole from the Wrestling POV podcast. Wrestling POV and Wrestling POV Global is affiliated with the Collar and Elbow brand. Go to collarandelbowbrand.com and save yourself 10% by using promo code WPOV. Collar and Elbow has t-shirts, hoodies, sunglasses, and more. And the best part, you're helping out your local indie wrestlers. And you're helping out the best wrestling podcast of all, Wrestling POV and Wrestling POV Global. You don't want to miss out. So save yourself 10% by using promo code WPOV. Oh my goodness!
Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle. Listen to the Wrestling POV podcast. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Wow, Elio, I feel refreshed. Had myself a delicious Coca-Cola beverage this week featuring Diet Coke Mango.
Oh, Diet Coke Mango. Never tried that.
Yeah, don't they have that out there?
No.
You guys must check it out in the markets, man. It's
I'm gonna have to check that out because I always see some weird different type of Coke out here.
Yeah. There's skinny cans and there's a bunch of weird flavors like blueberry and all these other ones. But yeah. I like this one. Not bad.
Okay.
But anyways, now you know what? I had to wash the taste of all that bile that I threw up after our poll, thinking about Teddy Hart doing a... Could you imagine? I had a nightmare once where Teddy Hart... I sat down and there was a TED Talk, and I didn't realize Ted was Teddy Hart, and I was forced to listen to him for an hour. Do you know how traumatic that was?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not even closing my eyes and thinking of Alanis Morissette could drag me out of that. Oh my God. Anyways, speaking about things that usually make a pukey taste in my mouth, let's talk about Impact.
Let's talk about Impact. Here we go. Impact this week kicked off with Willie Mack. And Willie Mack took on... Impact this week kicked off with a Moose defeating Trey Miguel after hitting a spear.
Now, we talked about this last week.
Yes.
Most of the times that we see the Rascals promos where they're singing in the circle, mocking the 70s shows, it's usual garbage.
Yep.
But last week's was pretty darn funny with Moose beating the crap out of them.
Actually, I saw that because they showed that previously on Impact Wrestling.
Wasn't that funny? That was the first time I laughed at one of those.
That was hilarious when he punched out all three guys.
The one just sitting there and he's just like punching him in the face, bonk, bonk, bonk. It's pretty good.
Oh, man.
Now, this match was, it was okay. I mean, it was your typical little man versus big man. I don't think for any moment did you think Trey Miguel was going to win this.
No, against Moose, no.
Moose pretty much manhandled him, and the end with the vicious spear. Good match.
And then we had Tessa Blanchard demanding that Gail Kim be relieved of her duties or face illegal action. Okay,
they're starting to ruin these girls. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about this nonsense.
Next, we had the team of Eddie Edwards and Eli Drake defeating Cam and Falaba following Eddie Edwards hitting the Boston knee party on Cam.
Now, it's sort of weird how they're actually a pretty good team. Eli Drake and Eddie Edwards actually make a really good team.
Now, I don't know what to say about this because last week we reported that Eli Drake was supposedly on his way out. I hope not because this team is actually kind of working.
Yeah, and I don't even want to talk about Falaba You know? And KM, wow. How can a guy be so big and be so unremarkable and so forgettable?
Was he not paired with Sienna or something a while back, a long time ago? Like
I don't remember. I've tried to avoid.
Yeah.
I didn't watch Impact until we were told we had to for this show. So
Yeah. Then we have backstage Impact and Taya Valkyrie are giving an interview. Then Ace Austin and his stupid hair defeated Damian Hyde with the full after hitting the full blockbuster to pick up the win.
As much as I hate this dude's haircut,
Yeah.
God, he's kind of talented. I hate to say it, but he had some really good, interesting. The flow. He wrestled very differently today.
And yeah, you know what? His matches are always in Impact always seem shorter, like really short.
Yeah.
He just like makes quick work of his opponents. Then, of course, Impact and Taya Valkyrie are interviewed by Josh Matthews, and they said that the fans betrayed them at Homecoming, so he betrayed the fans or whatever.
Yeah, that makes about much as sense as... Yeah, it just doesn't.
Next, we have your favorite segment with Rosemary, which we'll get into. Then we have Willie Mack defeating Ethan Page with a stunner.
I like Willie Mack. Man, you know what? I got to say this. We've been talking about wrestlers that kind of go all over the place. I think Willie Mack, believe it or not, has been on almost except for the NXT stuff or like any WWE stuff. He's been on every show. If you think about it, we see him regular on MLW. He was on Impact regularly. He was on ROH this week, and he was also on Lucha Underground. This guy's everywhere.
This guy's
I like him though. He's good.
He is good. Then we had Glenn Gilbert preparing for his match against Scarlett Bordeaux. Doesn't matter.
Next.
Gail Kim being interviewed, and a brawl breaks out between LAX and the Lucha Brothers.
Oh, that was interesting. It seemed, at least it was a realistic looking brawl. Sometimes I have a problem with wrestling brawls never look realistic. That looked realistic.
Actually, on the subject of the Lucha Brothers, last week we reported that
we didn't know who the tag team champions were.
Yeah.
I read that too, that they'd beat them.
I'm like, well, I didn't know who they were. I just read it this week.
Ouch. Not saying we look stupid sometimes, folks, but bear in mind, we've been watching 30 plus hours of wrestling a week.
And in the main event, it's Rich Swann retaining his exhibition championship by rolling up Sami Callihan to pick up the win. And following this match, Callihan attacks Swann, and we are introduced to the newest member of OVE, Madman Fulton,
who, by the way, I think might be the newest member of the Book of Shame.
No, guilty by association.
Now, did you catch them spitting at each other? Callihan and Swann, like, disgusting. Like, every time you think Callihan is just, like, gross, he just does even grosser crap. Ugh.
Oh, man, it's just, this whole team is ridiculous, and it just got even more ridiculous with Fulton being added.
Now, I'm going to give this week's show, this has got to be like a C-.
Yeah.
Willie Mack was okay, but so much crap and so much terrible wrestling.
Willie Mack was okay. Eli Drake and Eddie Edwards were
they were okay.
Good. The rest of it was just crap.
The rest was crap. Even the Moose thing was like half-ass.
Yeah.
So, C- for me, man.
Yep. Definitely
all right.
C-.
Moving on, ROH.
ROH, yes.
In Ring of Honor this week, only 3 matches. The first match, Lifeblood, Tracy Williams, Juice Robinson, and Bandito defeating Dalton Castle and the Boys. Now, there's a few things I want to point out here. First of all, when you have 3 big wrestlers in like Lifeblood, did you really think that Dalton had a chance when he was teamed with the Boys, who don't wrestle unless they're with Dalton?
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't even know who the Boys are. Who are they actually?
I don't think they've ever been given names, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just weird. Huh.
And once again, there was some kind of weird exchange where somebody used one of the Boys to whip into Castle to cause the sort of win for
No.
So this is there's been rumors of like maybe Dalton and the Boys might be going their separate ways. Mm-hmm. It seems like this is part of that storyline.
Okay.
Tracy Williams looked really good. Juice Robinson, I actually enjoyed him more than I usually do. I'm not the biggest Juice Robinson fan, but he was exciting here. And Bandito had some pretty cool moves. The mask, weird. That's all I can say. What a weird mask.
Not as weird as like arrows.
Oh, God. Next, Willie Mack defending the NWA national belt against Rhett Titus. So many things wrong with this whole idea. First of all, why is ROH letting the NWA belt be defended? The national belt,
I was just about to ask that. I don't think this is a regular thing, is it?
No. And then Rhett Titus. I mean, this guy rarely wrestles. He's just this muscle-bound looking idiot who takes a beating quite a bit. The match, I mean, Willie looked good. Rhett looked like he was lost. But okay match, I guess. Main event. This was a very good match. Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham defeating Coast to Coast. Now, I've been always really hard on Coast to Coast. I've always been like, I didn't buy them as a team.
Right.
This week, I really did enjoy them. I saw them gelling, and I see the potential that Coast to Coast could be a good force in wrestling, I think. Lethal looking really good. Gresham, man, is he small. I always forget how small he is till he's like next to like other people.
Right.
You know? He's kind of like a hobbit in there. But very good. Enjoyed the match. Did you catch that weird move they do where they grab each other's ankles, kind of roll into a move? I don't even know what they call it. It was at the end of the match. Lethal and they kind of, I don't know, they roll into a move onto the guy. It was something. But this week's show, it wasn't great. I give it a B.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's give it a B.
Yeah,
Moving on. Yeah. Let's go on to NXT UK.
NXT UK, here we go. Now, Johnny Saint and Sid Scala opened the show with the announcement that P. Dunne will be a part of WrestleMania weekend defending his NXT UK Championship at NXT TakeOver against Walter.
Don't you mean Walter?
Walter? Is it Walter or Walter?
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, it is Walter, but they pronounce it Walter.
Yeah.
Which is funny because that's how he pronounces it, but then everyone else, when they pronounce his name, says Walter, even though... Yeah, okay.
And then we had Tony Storm responding to comments from She Who Shall Not Be Named, saying they both love gold. The only difference is that the kind of gold that Tony Storm has, she earned.
Well, there's also another difference. Tony Storm has talent, and the other girl does not.
Rhea Ripley then addresses Brookside's comments, saying next time they step in the ring, the outcome will be the same as it was in the Mae Young Classic.
Oh, yes, a great big giant person saying, I'm going to bully you for saying I'm a bully. Okay, yeah, that was great.
In the opening match, Eddie Dennis picks up the win over Ligero, delivering the next stop driver for the 3 count.
Oh, and yet Ligero still lives. No, I don't mind Ligero. His good get-up makes me just cringe, especially those horns. But he's not a bad wrestler.
His wrestling is not bad. It's that it's that outfit that he has. That stupid mask. And did you catch what Eddie Dennis said?
Oh, yes, he did say something about those horns. What was that?
This was a highlight of my match for me, is when he said that he's going to rip the stupid horns off.
He said what we've all been thinking.
Then we have Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan are training in the gym, and Williams is wanting Jordan to get them a tag team match. They did a whole bunch of
goofy stuff. Yeah. You know what? I knew Amir Jordan before he went to the UK.
Oh,
he was trained by Lance Storm, spent 6 months wrestling out here.
Oh, cool.
Interviewed him a few times, just little things before he was anybody. Fun guy, did a lot of dancing to the ring.
Now, this next one, this was a throwaway match, nothing impressive, as The Hunt defeated Dolph Ziggler's ugly younger brothers. Pretty deadly.
Okay, The Hunt, they suck, man. These small little guys,
I'm wondering if they should be in the book.
You know what? I'm going to think about it. I know we got someone to put in. They may end up in the book, too. They're terrible. They're these two. I mean, seriously, they cannot be, 5'9"? You know, they're these small little dudes who are just, one of them wears cheap contacts and has stupid get-up on him. Oh, they're just terrible.
The other one looks like Eric Rowan's ugly younger brother.
And smaller, quite smaller than, yeah.
Then we had Cassius Ohno defeating Ashton Smith with a seated senton. Seated senton and a rolling elbow to the back of the neck.
Now, you saw that Ashton guy. I mean, what was he, 150 pounds? Did you think he had a chance? No. Come on, guys. Sheesh. That was squash before he got in there.
And then we got a Gallus promo. It doesn't matter.
Now, next.
In the main event, it was Tyler Bate picking up the win over James Drake with a swanton off the top rope.
You know what? He always delivers, man. Mm-hmm. Tyler Bates always delivers. His matches are pretty cool. What about that cool move where, like, he gets whipped into the ropes and he kind of grabs it and bounces his shoulder off and then kind of comes back? Did you notice that move near the end? He throws him out, like goes to throw him out, and instead of going out, he bounces his shoulders and then flips back and attacks. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it was that springboard clothesline or that jumping clothesline.
Into a clothesline after that, yeah.
Yeah. I caught that one.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
Tyler Bates, man, yeah, he delivers. Just because of like the two idiots dressed like the Hunt, and there wasn't a lot of great wrestling. There was some okay. I'm still going to give this one. I think I'm going to give it a B+.
Yeah, this one gets a B+. It wasn't a bad show. It wasn't a great show, but it wasn't bad. Just Hunt made it stupid.
The continuing problem with NXT UK is there's some great wrestling, but it's still a little bit boring as a show overall.
Yeah.
All right, now let's go into MLW.
MLW.
Right? Now, it started off, of course, with fans. A Teddy Hart promo of him being arrested for apparently being accused of throwing a brick through MJF's car, which is funny because they started this whole segment with him whipping a brick onto the floor and then saying he was I just didn't get that. But anyways, we don't see it, of course. You don't see any cops, but he's standing at the door telling them, just give me a minute. I have to give my chains to Brian.
Yeah, and then I'm not resisting the police. Don't.
Yeah. Then he pulls a whack-a-dough out, gives it to Davey Boy, and says, use this to bail me out. And then he takes off. So, of course, MJF and Holiday come out there, and they're kind of saying, whatever. But let's get into the matches. First of all, one of your all-time favorites, Gringo Loco.
I'm sure you're mistaken.
Defeating Myron Reed. Myron Reed, who to me kind of reminds me of a parking meter. He's pretty skinny and got a weird head on him. But Gringo Loco. I can't get behind him, but you can't not like him sometimes because he's got the most awkward body and yet he does stuff that luchadors do. It's just like he doesn't look. You look at him and you think that slob would never do that stuff, and then he does these moves and you're like, wow.
And Myron Reed pulled a Rich Swann. He attacked the referee after the match.
Yeah. So Myron Reed, you better shake your parking meter head and hope some change falls out because you're going to look like you're probably going to sit out a week. And then, we move on. Alexander Hammerstein.
Alexander Hammerstone. Oh my goodness.
Defeats Brian Pillman. I'm gonna go out here and say I actually, until the last third of the match, really enjoyed Brian Pillman. He actually wrestled really well. Did not expect to see so much out of him, so maybe there is some hope for him. Yeah. Afterwards, he gets beaten, and then he gets beaten again by Hammerstone and the other dudes.
Yeah, he got attacked in penalty. Teddy Hart tried to jump in to help, but they just forced him to watch the beatdown. Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, but one of my favorite guys right now, Mance Warner. Okay? First, they had a little interview with him in the beginning.
Oh, that was great. And, that was so great.
He gets the girl to pull out a chalkboard, and he starts writing down, and he's like, okay, number 1, we're going to get some light beer. Number 2, poke in the eyes. Number 3, cameraman, get this one. I pull my knee pad up. I pull my knee pad down. I love it when he does that.
Now, I have to say, when I first heard about Mance Warner, when I first saw him, I was like, oh no, not another Stone Cold Steve Austin. No one can be Stone Cold Steve Austin, but this guy actually makes it work.
He's not actually being Stone Cold.
He's just his mannerisms, but this guy's making it work.
And another thing that's really cool is when I heard he was coming, he's the CZW champion. I expected the worst from this guy because that's usually what the kind of crap comes out of CZW.
Okay. Yeah, you were saying they do all those death matches and stuff.
Yeah, not a fan of that stuff at all, but I like this guy. And oh my God, when he was talking about LA Park and he was calling him Los Angeles Park, I was Los Angeles Park.
I was dying when he said that.
It was so good. Oh, Los Angeles Park, you're going down hard.
I want to be Toronto Park now.
Toronto, T.O. Park. Okay, Toronto, Ontario Park. You're going to... This leads into them having a death match, which this is really funny in the world of only in the world of wrestling can you accidentally spill a beer on a girl. And then 2 weeks later, you're in a death match with somebody and everything. So, anyhow, Vance Warner taking on Los Angeles Park, LA Park, the original.
You know what? I actually have that written. Los Angeles Park defeated Vance Warner.
Now, really good match. Exciting. Vance came really close. Lots of funny, weird stuff in it. Folks, you'll have to check out when...
oh my god, like, when Vance was on his hands and knees and he kept looking at Park and told him to hit him.
Yeah, and it was just like the most oddly, weirdly kind of sexual, weird thing going on. And it was funny and creepy. And my God, Vance Warner, I got to see more of this guy. He's too much. I got to see more of him. He ends up losing this match. But you know what? I want to nominate this match for the Vault.
Yeah, no, this should be nominated for the Vault.
All right, I think we're going to put it in there. We'll get into the Vault because there's a... Well, you know what? First of all, MLW this week, I'm going to give it just on the Vance Warner... because let's face it, the Hart Foundation came really close to pulling this down to terrible.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give it an A minus.
Okay.
Just squeaking ahead of some of the other matches this week. Vance Warner really made it. Los Angeles Park is probably something that's going to make me laugh for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. A minus towards a B is the way, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. All right, so you know what? It's that time of the day where we're going to have to open up our Book of Shame because we have some nominees for the Book of Shame.
Yes.
All right. So first of all, while you open the book, tell me who's in there now, and let's see if we're going to pull any of that out.
Ace Austin's stupid hair.
Stays.
Facade.
Stays.
Yeah, we haven't, that word that shall not be used, the
She
F word.
stays. She
the
stays.
F word.
Oh, no, what they call her. Nope, stays.
Yeah. Gringo Loco.
Part of me wants to take him out because even though he's ridiculous, he delivers.
He does, yeah, he does. Even though he does look ridiculous, he's not
I say
bad.
we pull him out. We pull him out.
Okay.
He's out of the book.
Alright. The One Fall Chant.
Oh, definitely stays.
You know what? I thought it was just me, but I've been here it a few times in MLW as well.
Yep, people do it at stupid places. Stupid is, stupid does. That's what they say.
Then we have Sammy Callahan.
Oh, he always stays. He's the reason we started the book.
The Christ Brothers.
Oh, God, they're just as terrible.
And Tommy Dreamer.
Oh, he is definitely... Hey, you know, on a quick side, when the promoter said, thank you for... going to get Jeff Cobb's luggage. Mm-hmm. I said I would have done that for any wrestler except Tommy Dreamer. I told him that because he had booked Tommy Dreamer and brought him up here once.
Oh,
and he's like, "Really?" I said, "Yep." I would have told Tommy Dreamer, "Start walking, fatso." All right. Anyone else in there?
That was the last century.
All right. Now here it is. Our new entry into the Book of Shame. Say it, buddy. Say his name.
Madman Fulton.
Madman Fulton.
You just read the book of shame.
Sorry, buddy. It's guilt by association.
Yeah.
You hang out with the stupid OVE. You go in the book. That's simple.
Maybe when you get some new friends, we might consider taking you out of the book.
Well, let's face it. If he had friends, he wouldn't be with these guys at all. So he's not getting friends. He's going to be there a long time.
This is true.
So, fans, the Book of Shame growing in the eyes of these poor Canadian boys. You know, I don't have a poll yet, so I'm going to give it a day or two.
All right.
We'll put our heads together to see what we'll pull for this week. It's been a great week of wrestling, though. Before we go, Elio, I want you to tell the fans a little bit, because you're very good at this. Tell them why you play the
pay-per-view points game?
Points game. I can't even say it.
Well, first of all, because you should play the pay-per-views points game because, well, it's just fun to play. And the way you play is you go to Wrestling POV Podcast on Facebook, like that page, share that page out, and the guys over at POV are doing their points game, the WrestleMania giveaway, and we're going to be doing our own giveaway for our very first pay-per-view, which is Double or Nothing.
Right. Now, folks, the way the game works is you take the entire card, and you bet imaginary points on the outcome of the card. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the thing. You could win really big, Or you could lose even worse, because suppose you just say you're not really sure that Elio is going to beat Tom, so you bet 3 points. And Elio wins, and you get that 3 points. But let's suppose in the next round, you think that the puppet is going to beat Rick Serrano, and you bet 10 points, and Rick Serrano actually beats the puppet. You lose 10 points. So you can, at the end of this, you could possibly, with the way you're not savvy, the way you're not watching your points, you could end up being super high in the points. You could have absolutely no points, or you could end up with negative points.
Yep. And we know what happens when you end up with the negative points.
You end up with that last place. You get a special reward called the Rick Serrano the Turd Award. Meaning, yep, you're the shit, son.
Now we need one for ours.
I guess we do. We're gonna have to. Fans, why don't you throw that out there too? We're gonna take our time to think about it. Fans, if you think you have a great idea for the loser of our paints. Now, the points game for WrestleMania will be the first time there will be a prize given away. Mm-hmm. There is a special prize, and there's also is that loot crate still available? Did somebody win it last time?
I don't remember. I don't think.
Oh no, Tony won.
He won the last game. That was just a straight game. That wasn't any giveaway.
All right, so we do. I believe there's a loot crate that's floating around out there. It could be great.
The WPOV crate.
The POV crate. It could have. Who knows? Maybe it has videos. Maybe it has clothing. Maybe it has signed pictures. Who knows? Maybe, worst comes to worst, maybe it's got Elio's toenail clippings. We don't know.
Oh, no.
It could be great. It could be good. Maybe you like chewing on toenails. I don't know. But it's a fun game, and I really want you folks to consider trying to play it. How well do you know wrestling? How well do you know the card? How do you know WWE? What do you think they're going to do?
Yes, I used to play for fun when I was a kid. Like, my friend my friend neighbor across the street had Satellite, where she used to invite me over for all the pay-per-views, and her family and myself and my brothers, we used to just do this for fun.
All right. And then you learned how to cheat with that puppet. But anyways, fans, we encourage you to join the festivities that is WPOV Points pay-per-view game. Did I say that right? Okay.
W Wrestling POV pay-per-view points game. Yes.
That's right. It's coming up. Check regularly. Now, Elio, throw out all our media stuff. I never remember it.
Wrestling POV Podcast on Facebook, Wrestling POV on Instagram, Wrestling POV 1 on Twitter, and you can find us on Spotify, Podbean, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and iTunes.
Are we on MySpace?
What's that?
I don't know. I'm trying to be cool. Is it working, kids? Anyhow. I'm your host, the legend T. James Logan. Want to wish you all a very Elio week, which means be gentlemanly to each other, be kind, and if things seem sad and down, you think of the pretty face of Alanis Morissette. That will get you through your life. Elio, say goodbye to the good people.
All right, we'll take care of the listeners, and we will talk to you all next week.